those as well alongside with me. And then I'm also the founder and CEO of an advertising agency with 14 offices. And we have Amna is our global COO as well as the managing partner in the agency. The agency is about 13 years young, and the investment firm is 10 years. So that's a brief intro as to what we do. The deal flow on my table is humongous. We receive all kinds of pitch decks, all kinds of startup founders coming to us, looking for investments, looking for advice. Many people approaching us, okay, come on board, come as an advisory board member, and so on and so forth. And the beautiful part about what we do is that all the way from Australia to the UK, to the Middle East, to the United States, we have a very, very strong global footprint. Now, having said that, I would rather like to structure it in a way, Amna, that let's have questions coming in instead of me talking. So let's open the floor, because if there's anything that these lovely people, students, boys and girls can take the maximum benefit is that instead of me giving out something like a one-size-fits-all thing, I mean, I can't wrap up entrepreneurship in 30 minutes. You can't wrap up entrepreneurship even in 30 years. You know, it's a continuous learning curve. So I think a great idea is that let's throw in some questions. Let's throw in whatever that want to come, and then we can try to wrap things up. If you guys have any ideas you need to share, take a couple of minutes, share your idea, and happy to help you take you through with a journey as to how you could monetize it, how you could scale it, whether or not your ideation is correct or not. You know, what are the opportunities out there? How could you do it better? Can you raise investments? How could you bootstrap it? So on and so forth. So let's keep it open to that. What do you guys suggest?
Sounds great. How are you doing, guys? This is Vincent.
Thanks, Vincent, for coming in.
It's my pleasure. I had a pleasure talking with you last night. Great idea, by the way. I already created a lean canvas business plan, financial projections, marketing plan, and everything else you might need for it. Other ideas that we could talk about filling out, I have like 1,000. So, but I'm also in a fellowship for a full stack development program with a very respectable artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science consultancy for corporations. I guess right now, let's focus on, I want to create a platform for art sales because I have about 1,000 paintings I need to sell. And I just want to make it more focused and catering towards the artists.
Okay. So why would you like to create a platform which would be, more on the artist side and sales side? I mean, what are the numbers? How big is that market?
2 seconds. Give me about 60 seconds. I'll have that research for you, sir.
Fantastic. All right, let's do that. I think there's a question, Amna, in the chat. Maybe you'd like to, guys, please just unmute, ask. Let's make it more like a coffee table setup compared to a classroom setup.
So I can read the last question by Moira, which is how did you first get into entrepreneurship?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I think I belong to a business family. I'm the third, fourth generation in business. So I was born and raised in a business, setup. But I can explain you these 4 things. One is being a business owner, one is being a professional, one is being self-employed, and one is being an entrepreneur. So if you look at that quadrant, a business owner is someone who has maybe a factory, a shop, a pharmaceutical chain, a restaurant, a jewelry business. These are things which are already out there, right? These are things which somebody else is doing, let's say in Manhattan, and somebody else picks it up and starts doing it in Ohio, or somebody picks it up from Ohio and says, oh, I have a gap in Africa, so I can put the same business in Africa. So these are regular businesses. You do something which is already being done, and you become a business owner of that sort. So there's not a lot of innovation involved in it. And that is what makes you a business owner. Now, there are small, medium businesses, and then there are corporations. That's a separate discussion, but that is the business and being a business owner. There are certain people, for example, if you're a doctor or a surgeon, and then you say that, okay, I'm doing a job 9 to 5 at one hospital. So you turn around saying, no, with my profession, I'm going to spend 3 hours in X hospital, 4 hours in another, 3 hours in another. And then late at night, I open up my own, private consulting in my home. That means you're a professional. So, you could be a professional doctor, you could be a professional accountant, like a fractional CFO, fractional CMO, so on and so forth. So all of that is essentially being self-employed. A graphic designer is self-employed. A cybersecurity expert, a web developer is self-employed. You're getting business freelancing and you're self-employed. You're not an entrepreneur. So the difference between self-employed and professional is that people who are self-employed, they do not really have a degree or a certification, which is, which requires OJT, etc. So professionals are something which needs to have a professional degree, a professional skill that they've acquired. Being self-employed still gives you a bit more leeway because, you could do multiple things working at your home. So you understand business owner, professional, and self-employed. Now, as an entrepreneur, your entire business is driven by innovation. And innovation is not only product innovation. Innovation is not that, you say, okay, I create something in artificial intelligence, or I create something in blockchain or NFTs or blah, 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 blah. Innovation could be a simple innovation, Innovation could be a process innovation. Innovation could be, yes, a product innovation, a service innovation. Innovation could be literally just stripping off something which already exists and trying to redo it in a different way. Now, what is the purpose of becoming an entrepreneur, or what does entrepreneurship actually leads to? It leads to one word, which is efficiency. As far as you could do business in a more efficient manner. What is the definition of efficiency? Save time, save money. This is it. If you could do or produce or create a product or a service which can help save time and has a value proposition, which is save money, excellent. You're an entrepreneur. So if Mora asks me, okay, Shafaat, when did you become an entrepreneur? I'm yet to become an entrepreneur, to be honest. I haven't really created something so phenomenal that I would say that, this thing has really disrupted the market and has really brought innovation into people's lives. So, I'm a smart guy. So instead of me thinking of a lot of great ideas, I try to piggyback on other people and I jump on a bandwagon with some smart people and founders, and I tell them, hey, listen, you guys are entrepreneurs. I'll just sit and try to push you with my own wisdom, with our scale, with our things, with our business acumen. So I think the great ideas come from people like yourself who are students. Our job at this age is really more to improve the idea that you have, to add more value into it, to help you get funding or to fund it, or to give you the right go-to-market strategy, or to help you scale, right? But most importantly, to teach you the practical knowledge, which your university will never teach you. So my personal war or battle or mission in life is, I fail to understand that if you have to become a doctor or a surgeon, a practicing doctor or surgeon should teach you surgery. But you guys, when you're being taught entrepreneurship in universities, you're taught by professors who have never been an entrepreneur in their life. Somebody who's teaching you marketing has never been a brand manager or has never run an advertising agency. Somebody who's teaching you human resources is not a CHRO or whatever, and never even worked in any corporation at a certain level, is still working. So most of the times these people have completely irrelevant experience, which is 20 years old. And they're still giving you examples from Airbus and Coca-Cola when it was born, which is totally irrelevant these days. Those times were different. Those were the times of, industrialization, et cetera, et cetera. They're giving you examples of Microsoft. Microsoft is a damn stale company, So it makes absolutely no sense giving you those examples. So the reason that we do the Entrepreneurship Townhall, or we do a workshop, which is for entrepreneurs, that's quite an expensive affair. It's $2,500. But what you really get is practical knowledge, we exactly tell you black is black, white is white. If your idea sucks, we're going to sit down with you, tell it on your face that, you know what, this idea is not going to work. And if this idea is going to work, this is how it's going to work. So the real difference is, I think all of us have been taught a lot of theory, right? And practical knowledge is not there. Practical entrepreneurship is only there either if you study from someone who's practically done it over and over again, or is still doing it, has relevant information, and B, handholds you to take you through a journey, just like you're learning swimming. You know, if you don't know how to swim, somebody throws you and you're going to drown. So a lot of entrepreneurs drown, and the numbers are very simple. 95% people never get funding. 70% businesses actually die out during the first 3 years of their operation. About 40% businesses die during the first year of their operations. You know, so I hope that answered the question, Omara.
Hi, I have a question.
Go ahead, KJ.
I was just wondering, if I was looking to start a business, what is the one piece of advice you would give in the brainstorming process?
One piece of advice. The one piece of advice I'll give you is never take ill advice from non-professionals, YouTubers, coaches, motivational speakers, professors, your next door neighbor, you know, your best friend. Do not take ill advice. That's my only one piece of advice. Whenever you start a business, pay for a professional advice. Helps?
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, welcome.
I also have a follow-up for the first question that you answered.
Sure, Kate.
Yeah, you were kind of talking about learning entrepreneurship. Do you think there are any parts, since it can vary so much from each idea or each company, do you think there are parts of entrepreneurship that are impossible to teach that you just have to learn on the way? And if there are, what would they be?
You know, Kate, where are you from, Kate? You're in the United States?
Yeah, I'm from Madison. I'm also in the UW class.
You're also in EW class. All right. So, Kate, have you ever learned how to have a 7-course meal in British style on a beautiful big dining table? Did anybody teach you that?
No.
No. So if you go on YouTube and try to learn, okay, if I'm served with a 7-course meal, where do I have to start? Which fork, which spoon, how do I need to sit? Where do I have to start? Where do I have to put my napkin? It's like, you can learn the whole thing in theory, but when you are actually put on the table with like 50 people on that table and all big guys, big girls, etc., you'll be just confused. You will know everything, but you'll be like, oh my God, where do I start, right? And then when you actually pick up the spoon, your hands are shaking, you know? So theory is always theory. You always have to get into it. So if you ask me, if you read, and if you listen to some person like myself, it doesn't teach you nothing. It only helps you organize your Lego blocks in your mind to have clarity that which piece of the puzzle has to go where when you practically jump into creating that monster, right? So the job of a teacher is to only tell you that, okay, the building blocks of the foundation have to be here, the paints have to be here, the marketing has to be here, da, 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 da. So you put a little painting and a picture and a draft that this is how it's going to look. So I'm giving you the tools where you can pick and choose as and when needed and just place it more efficiently in a fast way to build your building, right? But you have to build it yourself. Because I cannot teach you not to have a panic attack when you're standing on a stage and going to pitch for the first time, no matter how much you've practiced, right? People tell them, oh, I'm going to teach you how to be excellent in presentations. You know, the first time I did a presentation, Kate, my first presentation ever in my life, ever. I was in my A-levels first year of my A levels, so just finished off with my O levels. You call it hires in the United States. And the next youngest person in that setting of 18 people was 42 years old. And I was literally 19 years, the youngest. And they said, Shafaat, get up and present. And back then, we had those projections. I don't know, you guys must have not seen. So there was this projection screen where you have these transparencies and slides. You have to write it with a marker and you have to put it upside down, the opposite way, right? Okay. So every time I would mess it up because that was my first time to put those transparencies the straight way. My legs were shaking and my heart was bouncing. Like, what the hell? And the first one was, I was like, okay, where do I start? How do I start? I will be judged. It took me about 2 minutes to get through that panic attack. And then in my own mind, I brought both of my middle fingers up in my own hand. I was like, to hell with it, let's just talk. And that was my flow. So since then, the only thing I do great is this. So frankly speaking, you just need to be there. You need to practice, but always have help with you. Always have a lifeguard in the swimming pool around you before you jump into the pool, right? You can't jump into the pool without a lifeguard. You're going to burn yourself. And what you have over here, me and Amna, we are people who, if you tell me, Amna, Shafaat, can you teach us something every month for half an hour? You guys are kids. Really, you guys are like my sons and daughters. Okay. I'll just bring you guys, hey, come. Let's sit every month for 30 minutes. Ask me all the questions you want. Okay? Because I want to give it back to you. I want to make sure that you guys don't make those mistakes which we made, because the abundance of opportunities that you have today in today's world is way more than we had. I had to carry some piece of crap and go around knocking door. Hey, would you like to buy it? You guys have comfort. You guys sit on the damn couch, go on Instagram, take a picture, start selling, right? We didn't have that opportunity. So do something and do something great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Shafaat. We can go back to Vincent. Because he was. Do you have your document with you, Vincent?
Pardon me?
Yes. Do you have the numbers that Shafaat was asking you?
Oh yeah, the market research. No problem. Yeah, I have it for a couple. I have it for digital art sales. 1 second. Loading. I'm one of those people who has way too many tabs open at all times.
Oh my goodness.
I'm right there with you.
I know quite a few such people.
Pardon?
He's poking at me. I do the same. So yeah.
Well, great minds, right?
All right. Thank you, Winston, for telling me that I'm the dumbest person in the room.
He didn't say that.
We have only one tab open.
You filled in that blank. I did
Yeah,
not.
He did not say that. No. So it's okay. Be nice.
I was just kidding.
No, actually,
Meanwhile, that Winston
I
is
very
looking-
much respect your opinion on quite a few things, actually. Digital art sales have been growing rapidly in recent years, driven by the increasingly available digital tools, platforms, and selling art. According to Grandview Research, the global art market size is valued at $3.5 billion in 2020, expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 28.5% from 2021 to 2028. North America held the largest market share in 2020, accounting for 37.6% of the global revenue. And I also have it for digital art sales as well, which is nuts.
Winston, is it Google stuff? What's the source of these numbers?
AI.
AI what?
What do you mean AI? AI what?
Like
No,
ChatGPT.
I mean,
It's a large language model.
the research that you're telling me, is it from Google?
No, it's actually from an augmented version of ChatGPT.
Okay, ChatGPT's research is usually old.
It's
By the way.
to February 2021, but that's why I said it's an augmented version.
Yeah.
So I can give it web access to today.
Right.
And also
okay. I just want to understand, so we don't need to go into the research. Don't want you to do the research.
oh no,
as we
so the research is like if you'd like I can double check that. elsewhere.
So the idea is that, so if I have to say that, share what you could do in like 1 minute, what would you say was your core business? What is it that you solve?
I'm a value engineer. I bring value to companies that already possess it or don't see it, that they inherently have it. And if they don't have it, I give them a creative branding, marketing, or just, I like giving people sustainable advantages that are so competitive and more collaborative.
Okay, very good, fantastic. So listen, if you do have a pitch deck, Vincent, happy to review it together with you on one of the Zooms. I'm sure as you have our email, I can share it over here with all of you. For my secretary and Amna's secretary, she can get you guys on a call with us anytime, right? So if you have anything that you would like to ask, share, we'll do it there. But I think your business, because you're at a very different pace compared to all the other participants here, I think needs a more deeper dive to see what can be done together. Fair enough, Amna?
Well, with that, a meeting with Vincent is already on the books, but we can do it sooner because I told him that we have a workshop coming up, so kind of busy things are kind of busy because of that, but we can definitely do it in the next day or two, because he has everything ready. So Vincent, I think we will just have a more one-on-one and sharing the pitch deck and everything session with you. Anybody else has a question?
Just have one
Go ahead.
question. And this is actually something I want to put into play. It's going to take a few years. And I know that because it's manufacturing. And in order to do that, we have to harvest the materials. So I would like to know how I can present an idea for manufacturing computer components based on a material that we have the opportunity to harvest. Still has to go through some of our offices and get approved, and they're going to push that through. The company who found it is going to be mining this material. I would love to be able to start manufacturing of computer components for everything from cell phones to life-saving medical equipment in the future. That being said, what can I, or how can I, no, actually I don't need how. I need to know what I need to have present to present to an investor or multiple investors to say, can we fund this and bring it to fruition? What components of that idea would I need to have in play? Having the source for the materials, but nothing after that.
Got it. So your source of the materials, is it something I can source as well, or what keeps you the only exclusive guy to access that source?
Now, I'm not the exclusive guy, but if I want to do manufacturing of computer components, I can get a hold of this company and they will be doing the mining. So this material, not anybody can get. There's 2 sources in the world, and this is possibly the largest.
Okay.
Right. And so they've discovered it. They've measured it. They've checked all of their corners and square spaces. This is going through our legislation right now. And
so
they're going
through your legislation. Is it currently being used anywhere elsewhere, here and there?
It is actually all over the world. I sent you a
So if it's already being used all over the world, then how come you are the only one who have access to that source? Because it means a lot of people are using it all over the world, right?
Right. It's very sought after because we need it for technology, period. And I'm definitely not the only one. I'm just looking to start a manufacturing of future technologies using that material because it's abundant. And right now, the US, we get 90% of all of this material from different countries, specifically one different country. I forget which one it is.
Okay.
There's only 2 of these mines that I know of.
Very good. So when you say future technologies or future components, do you have any components designed out of that?
I'm definitely not an engineer for things like technology.
Mhm.
I just know that if we make a motherboard for a computer, that is a very vital component. If we make a little circuit for something else in a piece of hospital equipment, that material is in it.
Okay, so let me ask you a little bit about what your experience is and what value do you bring on the table, except for the idea.
Okay, so my experience so far as an entrepreneur has been finding people who have something already going, a business or a product, and then helping them source either cheaper materials or better products or a way to market as well. And that's been working well for me in the past. This is definitely the biggest idea that I've looked at.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure how to approach it. My experience comes from the work I've done in the mental health space, just from my understanding of the human emotions and how people work mentally, emotionally, and through spiritually. So I'm not sure what you're looking for as far as what I provide as value. I've done wholesaling and real estate. I know some marketing, and I'm doing very well right now. As far as launching everything that I'm doing, I'm also writing my first book. But when I saw this come into my newspapers locally and say, look, this is what we've discovered, this is what we're going to do, and this is where we're at with the project, I looked at the timelines of being about 2 years for the possibility for me to actually have something arranged with this company and say, you know, we could use this material, we could buy this amount, we could do this with it, and start making arrangements for something to come to fruition.
So when you say we can do this with it, I would like to know what is that this that
Okay,
you can do.
a good example is we could produce solar panels.
Okay. So are you dealing in silicon?
Am I dealing what?
So is it more like silicon thing, something like that, or something else?
On the chart, I want to say it's, I better just look. On the charts that I have, and it's on the periodic table. This will give you a really good example. I did write it down. I just don't remember where I wrote it down off the top of my head. Okay, it is tellurium, which is Te with the atomic number 52.
All right. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
You said already manufacturers are already using this in manufacturing various components, right?
Yes.
Which means that those people around the world have already put in a lot of money in their factories, etc., equipment, and they have a design house, they have a research house, blah, blah, blah. And they're currently sourcing it from elsewhere. So you have found a stash where it's cheaper, a lot abundant, and you could be a great supplier to these things. But then at the same time, you want to put your own factory so you could experiment with some new components out of it. Am I correct?
I mean, that is an idea, you know, but the main plot that I'm looking at is we have material and we don't have to go anywhere else to get it. So I guess maybe I'm looking for the second dot to connect. We have something very useful that we don't have to ship in from another country.
Okay. So to me, it's a very, very simple deal. For me, all you need to do, David, is first of all, you start simply supplying it to the existing manufacturers. Become their supplier, just a vendor. Make money out of selling it. And once you're done with that, you'll have your own funds to then put up a lab or something, or a design house or an engineering firm where you're trying out new components. Since you're not an engineer, so you'll be dependent on professionals, right? And the second thing you could do, which is even smarter, that I would do, is I would partner with an existing research firm, technology firm, or an engineering firm to do it for me. So I can tell them, look, I've got this material. I want you guys to experiment with this material, right? And you guys can become equity partners for, I don't know, 30/70 or 40/60, whatever that is. Give them a big chunk of equity, get them on board, have your IPs filed, as you do the research. So every time you do a research. Now, the third thing that you could do great is that you could get a lot of grants for research, right? Because if you write the right grant paper and you tell them that you're going to save America from so many dollars going out with so many imports, only if we are able to do this, you'll be given a grant. Okay. And that grant might not be given to you directly because you don't have the professional, education or background. So once you partner, you'll be able to get a grant to that company. Okay. And that would be the best way to go about it, instead of just going to the route where you go a little bit blurry, saying, okay, I've got this material. We can save a lot of money for US, et cetera. And, we could be the best supplier or the largest supplier because I've got the material in my hand. Any guy is going to turn around saying, okay, how much can you sell? So let's say if you're looking for working capital loan, then it's very simple. Even a bank would finance it because it's backed up by inventory, right? You don't have to give equity for that. But what I would recommend is, all you need to do, David, is put up a website, get yourself listed in the directory, go to target some of the B2B, very sniper targeting required, where maybe 20, 30 companies that who require this, who buy it on a regular basis. Just deal with them.
Yep.
I mean, I am of a mindset where I always avoid taking external funding. Always. Because it's just an added responsibility. It's a huge liability. And then you're really selling your soul to the devil. And most of the times I'm the devil here because we're the ones who invest. Right. So when we see somebody out there, we actually try to acquire the business. We try to simplify it. We see bigger, larger opportunities, and then we just give a price to the founder after 2 years. Hey, how much are you going to sell the whole thing to us? Right. Okay. So my recommendation is, I think you got the material. You got some. I did something exactly the same in 2001. Sorry, in the year 2000. What I did was that there was a building being developed in Pakistan, and they required aluminum composite panels. Nobody in Pakistan knew what that is 23 years ago. So I was asked to source by an architect if we could import it. So I went down to the architect, I sourced it. I went down to the architect and I was like, I've got it, but what you require on the building is less. I have to import a whole bloody container. So you need to give me at least 3 more buildings so I could sell off my whole container, otherwise I can't import it. So the architect said, okay. Now, he being an architect and doing a number of buildings, he suggested the application of ACP on all those buildings. And once that was done, I actually took $1 million from him in advance to do the booking. And then I went and I put my own $1 million on top, like 40% on top, and I imported the whole container. I got sold at a profit. So the moment I started doing it, everybody around asked, oh, who's this guy who's got this import? Who's the one person who's bringing it? So for the next 5 years, I was the largest importer of aluminum composite panels and laminated wooden floors when nobody even knew about laminated wooden floors, right? Today it's very, very common. So whenever you have access, whenever you have a good source, but what happens is that right after 2 years, all the other building materials suppliers in few countries where we were operating, they went to China, they attended different exhibitions, and they found their sources. Now I was in a price war literally 2 years later. So what happens is that whenever you get into a business where you say you have a source, but it's not exclusive, or you have a material which is non-exclusive, you'll always end up in a price war, right? So to me, it would be a nice sustainable business for the first 2-3 years until competition kicks in. But then right after, either you become the largest supplier at a very fast pace, and because of that, you get a better price than anybody else, and you have ready stock and ready availability of the material. And that gives you the edge to keep floating and keep sustaining your business as a trader. Or you are just simply out of business, 4 years later. So Yeah, that's what I would recommend. But adding the innovation bit that you've suggested, I think that's a brilliant idea. So I would not recommend that you go ahead and invest in something on your own.
Right. No, you answered my question like beautifully. And you just connected the two things that I should have just simplified from the beginning, which is go to somebody who needs it and then go to the people who have it and cut a deal. I'm only looking to put food on the table and launch myself into my own business ventures. I'm not looking to, go be the biggest person in the world right now. I just want to be helpful, useful, and do something meaningful with my life. And so business is my way to do that. And this is a good opportunity. And I'm a firm believer in chasing opportunities and not letting things go. So if there's something that can happen, it happens. It's beautiful. If it doesn't, I just keep on with the opportunities I'm still working.
That's fantastic. I love your mindset. And that's brilliant. This is how you should be thinking. The only thing I would recommend here is try to start trading, try to start selling it since you have the source. And try to see if the first batch is sold. And if you could make some money out of that batch, right? And just try to bootstrap the whole thing all the way. I'll take you for your word for what you've told me by far. And I think if it's sellable, if there's a demand out there, you can offer a better price, you can offer availability, you got a nice partner. So let's say you sell X volume, you go back to the source and you tell them, listen, now I need exclusivity because I'm selling like 60% of your stock, right? I'm the biggest buyer. And that's very much about it. So keep your focus, keep it good, keep it cool. I like your spiritual side of the things as well. I think that's very good. You seem to be a very humble person, and keep the spiritual part on. Putting food on the table, I'll be very honest with you, David. If you business is something which is 100% risk. Having a stable income by doing a job, by getting into some kind of consulting engagement, freelance engagement, project engagement, or something like this is always helpful. Because until and unless your belly is not full and you have to be in your comfort zone to think of great ideas, right? Great ideas come when you're taking a shower, right? Or whatever, because that is when you're relaxed. Great ideas don't come when you're on the border and fighting, or your heart is low, or you're emotionally down, or you're hurt, right? Because then you come up with an idea which is out of frustration, not out of the concept of contribution. So please make yourself comfortable first. Try to make simple things like $6,000 a month, $7,000 a month, $8,000 a month, $5,000 a month. Render your services. Test yourself on a job, and at the same time, keep looking and start this thing as a side hustle. And once you start this thing as a side hustle, and once it surpasses your existing monthly income, that's when you make a switch.
Right.
Yeah, that's my
perfect
advice to you.
No, I love that. I actually use that model for people I'm trying to tell, to just calm down and get in the receiving mindset so that you can relax and focus and you can handle what you need to so that you can move forward. I'm all about forward movement.
Very nice. Fantastic. Hope that helped.
I
Johnny,
appreciate
Kate,
it.
Daniel, any other questions, guys?
Yeah. Honestly, I think you kind of just answered that right there. But my question is, like, as a college student, as I'm going out into the workforce, entrepreneurship is something I'm super interested in, but the question is kind of when, right? So like right now I have no money. So I'm planning on getting a job, starting to work that for a while. Like, how do I know when I should stop working a salary job and take that risk to try to start something on my own?
Okay, very good question. Do you know that the CEO of Coca-Cola, the CEO of Novartis, the CEO of, some of the top Fortune 500 companies or thousands of listed companies on NASDAQ, none of them is an entrepreneur. Yeah, Yeah, Johnny? All of them are doing a job. Some of the richest doctors are working with a hospital doing a job. Some of the best lawyers in the world are doing a job. Chartered accountants, CFAs, CMAs, you know, everybody's on job. You can make a lot of money on job. A lot of money. And I'll tell you how. The only difference between a smart employee and a dumb employee is this. I'm getting $10,000 a month. You're getting $10,000 a month. I save $7,000 to $8,000 a month because I'm smart. And the other guy starts spending that money on brands, a new iPhone, a lot of damn subscriptions, going into business networking, paying money to coaches, blah, 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 always out of cash, right? Drinking, partying, whatever. Okay, trying to live a lifestyle which is completely fake. So this guy, 10 years later, will still be exactly in the same position where they are. And the other person who's been saving money will actually end up saying, you know what? I can put $200,000, $250,000 down and buy a home, buy a property, mortgage the rest of it, and rent it out, and let the rentals pay for the mortgage, whatever is the spread, the difference, $2,000, $1,500, I'll put it from my money. So 20 years later, he's got a property, maybe earlier. Maybe in between, he's going to sell it off because he's got the cash, he's got the savings, right? So a lot of these people, and then they get bonuses if they really perform. So first of all, we need to understand, and especially all of you who are students like Kate, Johnny, you guys, it's a great idea to simply focus on your job. First thing you need to achieve is excellence. Become the best in what you do. And let the corporations, companies, and your business sectors and fellow professionals accredit you, validate you, and believe in you that this guy is the best cybersecurity expert I've seen. Kate is the best, designer we have ever seen, right? Now, once you become famous, and once you've taken experience on someone else's money and someone else's platform, and you've done enough savings being a smart employee, then if some opportunity comes, you're like, okay, let me try this out. Let me do something of my own, right? You don't have to become an entrepreneur. You could still have a beautiful, awesome life without being an entrepreneur. But if you want your life to look like my face and Amna's face, which are like down and, quiet and wrinkles, and we have to spend so much on anti-aging creams, and we have to dye our hair because they've gone gray way before than they should be, right? Welcome to entrepreneurship, So this is what I would recommend. And honestly speaking, you can be an entrepreneur today. What is entrepreneurship? I'll give you in a nutshell. You buy this for $1, and you sell it for $2 somewhere else. Through Amazon, through your own website, or you snap a label on it. You're an entrepreneur, my friend. You start doing business, right? It's as simple as that. But there are people who do entrepreneurship and business with integrity, and there are people who do it without integrity. What is integrity? When you do business and you put your own skin in the game, which is your own hard-earned money, that is integrity. So let's say I like Johnny. Hey, Johnny, you're my friend. You're my bud. You don't have money. I understand you're broke. Okay, we all go broke. What do you want to do? Shafaat, I need $50,000. I want to start an e-com store. Okay, discuss. Johnny, I'm going to give you $20,000. Let's do business. I give you $20,000. You fail because this is your first time doing a business, right? I'm going to go around and tell Daniel and Kate and Vincent and David, and I'm not like, you know what? Never give money to Johnny. Johnny already owes me $20,000. Now, what is Johnny doing? Johnny is going to everybody, hey, I need $50,000. The investors are like, Johnny, what the fuck do you need $50,000? Johnny's like, I need $50,000 because I have to pay $20,000 to Shafaat, and then I need another $30,000 to do the same thing again. So the investor is going to say, okay, what are you going to do different this time? He's going to say, because I've been through my learning curve, I failed on this, so this time I'm going to fix this, and 100% is going to be successful. So some person like Amna, who has a big heart, beautiful face, a mom to 5, she's going to say, okay, my son, Johnny, no problem. I'll give you 50,000. Make sure if I die, give the money to my children. So Amna will give you 50,000. You'll pay me 10,000, not 20,000, because now you have money. You say, oh, I'm going to earn more and then pay the rest 10,000 to Shafaat. You take that money, you fail again.
Mm-hmm.
Amna is like, hey, why'd you fail this time? And Johnny's like, I fixed those things, but the market changed, the consumer preferences changed, the consumer behavior changed, and because I got the money 2 years late, my product is completely irrelevant, so it doesn't sell anymore, Amna. How the hell do we get rid of this stock? So you're having a good life. All I can tell you, Johnny, is when you don't owe someone anything, but you're broke, being broke is better than owing someone something and carrying a baggage of liability on your shoulder. Because 5 years later, 3 years later, your reputation is going to be zero.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you have to work starting your career as a student, entering the workforce, the one thing you need to focus, my brother or my son or whatever you are, you must be very young to me, is go and earn reputation through excellence. Achieve excellence, be the best who you are, and earn that reputation. 3 years, 5 years later, investors like us are going to flock to you and say, Johnny, you're such a damn amazing, smart cybersec expert. What if me and you put up a company? Somebody like David, he's going to be rich one day. He's going to say, hey, listen, I've got the source, but Johnny, if you are a software engineer or you're a tech engineer or a hardware engineer, you're the best I've known in America. Mm-hmm. Can you come and join hands with me and, we'll both do business? You won't even have to invest a dime. So that's my advice to you. I hope you will hold on to it, or maybe you'll find better advice than this elsewhere.
No, I appreciate it. I think that makes a lot of sense. The only thing I would say to that is based on what you said, it kind of feels like that's just the safe path, right? That's not taking a risk, and that's kind of all entrepreneurship really is. If you don't take that leap of faith at some point, you'll never know if you could bring something to the world that's new, something in the world that's different.
My recommendation is, I think it's a huge misconception due to which, the problem, okay, I don't want to shaft this because Amna is going to, call me up later and say, Shafaat, let's do this.
Also, it's 5:01, so we're
Yes.
already like 1 hour in this, so let's not start that topic. I know what you're
Okay, well, 5:01 is my favorite by Levi's. Anyways, so we're going to wrap it up quickly. But I still have to get it out of my chest because otherwise I won't be able to sleep. The problem with a lot of motivational speakers is they will push you to a level and tell you, go take a risk. You need to have the courage. If you don't take a risk now is your time. They hammer your head so much that you'll be emotionally so elevated that you'll just make the most stupid decision in your life without thinking. Because you're making a decision which is emotionally driven and not driven by the balance of wisdom and emotions. So this notion that take a risk, and if you don't take a risk, you won't be an entrepreneur, there's a very fine line. You need to take a calculated risk. Not just risk. Before taking the risk, calculate everything. You have to be safe first before taking a risk. Now, I'll tell you how I calculate the risk, and remember this for the rest of your life. 5 things. If you're risking your health in the process, it's not worth it. If you're risking someone you love and that relationship of the love that you found in your life, like I have, if I'll never do something which will risk to lose the woman I love, my parents, my wife, my children, my siblings. If you think you're going to lose them, it's very high risk. It's not worth it. Number 3, if you are at risk of losing your reputation and respect, never get into that business. Never, ever do a business where your reputation is at risk. So never do anything dodgy. Number 4, if your belief is at risk, don't get into that thing. Because nothing hurts us more than a broken belief. Belief is your only hope. Belief keeps us going. But when the belief shatters, you're completely shattered and you go into depression. And this is why there are so many tablets sold all over the world, because their belief systems are shattered. That's number 4. And number 5, the last thing. If you lose your own self-respect in front of the mirror and your self-esteem gets low, you've lost everything in life. So these are the 5 things. As far as you're not losing these 5 things, it's okay to lose money. It's okay to lose some time. It's okay to lose, anything. It's okay at risk. It's worth a risk. But everything else that I've told you, these 5 things, if that is at risk, just don't go. So calculate your risk, be smart about it, and get into entrepreneurship when you have calculated it very wisely. And most importantly, value your time. A lot of founders and entrepreneurs do not value their time. They spend 2 years, 3 years running after and chasing a dream, doing pitch decks, going to accelerators, incubators, wasting time in shared office spaces, not really doing anything, not even getting to get their MVP done or their POC done or their market validation done, running out of funds, borrowing money, living on credit cards. That's not cool, I love entrepreneurs who come and say, you know what? I put my own $100,000 in the business. This is where I am. This is where I spend the money. I've been really smart with investing the money in the business. I save money and save cost everywhere. If you could do all of this in less than $100,000, okay, I will give you my entire business. This should be the attitude and confidence of an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur should not come around saying, oh, I wasted money here and, now I'm running short of money. The entrepreneur has to come like a business leader and has to take responsibility of the decisions he have done, have to show something that he has invested out of his own money, and then says, look, guys, this is where I am. Now I need your help to grow, to scale, to do whatever, or take it to the next level. And I have achieved so far. And by the way, even if you don't give me money, I'll do it in the next 3 years. But if you give me money, I'll do it in the next 6 months. That's the only difference. That's the ideal funding investments that anybody would love to invest with you.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. All right, Amna, over to you.
All right.
I think we're running
Yes,
over time.
yes,
I
we-
finished it, by the way, in 4 minutes. So you told me 5:01, we're at 5:06.
So that's 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. No, thank you so much, guys. This was fun, and I think I keep on poking Shafaat and convincing him to do something different than what we usually do. And I guess this was really good. You can always go to our website bramblyglobal.com and now alphapreneurs.club as well. So or just follow us on LinkedIn, and you will see a lot of stuff that we keep on doing. We have a workshop that is happening on the following weekend on the 6th and 7th of May. And we have we have a lot of case studies and everything. So we have done businesses in almost all parts of the world and in almost all verticals. branding those businesses and helping them grow and scale. Always happy to Shafaat shared our email addresses. So if anybody would want some one-on-one meetings or any questions, do share them with us. I'm trying to like structure it better, so next time we'll do some brainstorming and see how we can do it better. But would love for you, for all of you or some of you to show up again next week, same day, and we can take the discussion further. And if any other question really comes up in the middle of the week somewhere, just email or DM somewhere. Alrighty, so
I think we should have the whole university join in the next cycle.
yeah, you would love
Where
that.
Johnny came from, Kate came from. I mean, it's free. I mean, just come in and throw questions. Fire at me, put me on fire.
Yes, yeah. He's very excited right now, but I'll be having trouble. Even like today, I was having trouble finding him where he is because we had committed, but then he gets lost in with some other business partner and like somebody drags him to some other meeting. So yes, I am being very very thoughtful about what to promise and what not to promise. But yes, we would love to do this again and then let's see where it goes. But thank you so much guys for showing up. And with that, have a great rest of the evening and rest of the week. Alrighty, take care guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.